Yeah, what's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Prison Break Raw. I'm your host, the one and only Big JD. As some of yous may know, it's Passover. The Jewish holiday of Passover started last Saturday, and it's moving on into tomorrow, which is ironically also Easter Sunday from what I'm told. It's kind of strange how the two holidays overlap. But do people celebrate the Jewish Passover in prison? Yes, they do. But it's not a holiday that everybody could participate in like Christmas, like Easter. You have to be listed as a member of the Jewish faith. You have to be basically signed up for it. And then you get all the perks that come with it. And being somebody who's actually listed and signed up in the Jewish faith as I am in the federal system, I held down the Friday night Shabbos or Sabbath service in that place, the room that we had for years in that place. And I fought tooth and claw to make sure that people like, let's say, for example, Christian Identity, that tried to come in and strong-arm the room from me and quickly learned that that wasn't going to happen. You had other people of various different faiths that actually backed me on that because I did a lot to help various different people get their services and their holiday meals put in there, like Moorish Science Temple, whatnot. I mean, you had the Odinists, they had their Yule celebration, the powwow for Native Americans. The Mormons had their own. Santeria had one. Everybody pretty much had one. Even the Wiccans had one as well. So the Jewish service would have Passover. That would be their holiday meal, and you would get a lot of things with it, including these matzo crackers like this. In a place like FCI Florence where they didn't sell it on the commissary, but from what I'm told, matzo crackers are actually sold on the commissary in places like FCI Raybrook and USP Otisville, places in the Northeast where there's a lot of Jews, and even closer towards the North Midwest, out towards like Illinois and Pennsylvania, and prisons that are out there where there's probably a higher concentration of Jewish inmates. But at the FCI and FCI Florence, there was practically none until Passover appeared. And then all of a sudden, hundreds of instant converts would show up on the yard as if Moses himself appeared to circumcise mass amounts of people and give them all their bar mitzvah, and would shepherd them towards the chow hall in a mass exodus to pick up 15 boxes of these matzo crackers. The opportunistic and predatory, scandalous nature of people that want something for free never ceased to amaze me in prison. It's why I laugh at a lot of these gullible criminal justice reformers that think that people in prison are just misunderstood good people. They're not. There's a lot of foul, fucking, nasty, disgusting, despicable type of people that are in prison that'll look to exploit and benefit off of anybody else's thing, especially the holidays. If they think they can get something free out of it, they're in it, hook, line, and sinker. And I'd actually fought to set it up to where the only people that would have access to all of this stuff would be people of the Jewish faith, not necessarily me, but anybody else, whether they're Messianic Jews, Reformed Jews, conservative, Reconstructionists, Orthodox, Hasidic, whatever. If you're in there, you should be the one that has full access to all this stuff. It should be under lock and key. But it was not, because they didn't really care. So you had dudes that were Christians, Muslims, whoever else, were handing this stuff out to a long line of people that said that they were Jews. And every now and then there'd be somebody in the line that had paid a bunch of stamps to get his issue, and he wasn't listed to that faith. And Lord forbid, there may be somebody who was actually legitimately, righteously a part of the faith would come through the line, and his issue was given out to somebody who was just looking to sell the shit on the yard. This is what we had to deal with. So when it came time to it, there was a guy that used to hand out all the shit, and he was registered as Jewish, only for the holidays, of course. Would hand out the stuff, and then we were trying to make it to where if you're going to get this, then you must participate in the Passover meal and everything else, even maybe some of the Shabbos services. Finally, when we got a rabbi on the compound, he was trying to push for that, but of course, all the backlash and the fighting and the whining and crying and the grievances that were written up had actually overturned that. He was looking to interview people to see if they were really a part of the faith. But the holiday meals in prison are always something that everybody looks forward to. But these non-traditional ones like this that come with a lot of perks, like the Ramadan meal, which is a big, giant, huge feast at the end of the Ramadan holiday, the Yule celebration where you get a bunch of stuff that you don't normally get throughout the year, and everything else that goes on. Powwow, whatnot, fry bread, and different things that they would never see unless it was a holiday. They were given during the powwow. But the non-traditional religious meals that would come would be like, let's say, for example, Christmas. You'd get a Cornish hen, you'd get a big old bag of treats, and for dinner they'd give you a couple of, pints of eggnog. Thanksgiving, Turkey Day, nice big old giant turkey, some yams, cranberry sauce, biscuits, gravy, all of that stuff, stuffing. And a lot of these things were outside of what was called the national menu. Now, the national menu is something that Michelle Obama put in. Thanks, Michelle, or Michael, as a lot of us like to call him or her or whatever, had put forth this national menu of all this crap and garbage. Like, we used to get steak, lobsters, all kinds of stuff, Ben & Jerry's ice cream. But Michelle Obama had a lot of stock in a lot of these food distributors that were supplying these prisons afterwards. The ones that were supplying the dog food and the cardboard turkey burgers and all the rest of the crap that just never sat right in your stomach. Yeah, making billions and millions off of that, she did. So the national menu pushed a lot of this out to where holiday meals became more of a popular event. So the Passover was really no different. And like I said, a lot of these crackers would end up all over the yard where people would sell them for $5 stamps a box because people like to make flatbread pizzas. They like to use them for their soups and various other things. And then the bouillon cubes. The beef bouillon cubes would, make for a pretty tasty broth for a lot of people that are cooking for a lot of people, people that hustle and actually sell their food. But yeah, the Passover holiday, I had participated in every year that I was there, and I never sold any of my stuff. I held on to it. But I remember, like the little setup, the little arrangement that was on the plates, you get the little shank bone, which was, a piece of like lamb shank, and it would end up going around, and people would be dropping them in their soups, eating them, whatnot. And I used to laugh because there's no telling how old those things are. They're solely for a decoration, is what they were used for. But they would come in a big bag, and they would all disappear. Like, none of us would get them. We'd always wonder where they ended up, but they ended up all over the yard. And people, like I said, drop them in their soups, do whatnot. And some people were getting sick from them because you really don't know. Like I said, they're for decoration purposes only, but a lot of these dumbasses don't really know. But the funny thing about this Passover meal that would always, strike me as odd is the fact that it was only for the people that observed the faith, but anybody and everybody could participate in the Christmas meal, the Easter meal, whatnot. This goes to show you what it's really all about. But yeah, the Passover meal is celebrated in there. If there's any kind of real Jews that are present on the compound itself, they'll actually be there for the meal, for the celebration, and it's pretty much, it's a very beautiful holiday, and it brought me a lot of joy and everyone else that was in there. Of course, once we had the rabbi, like I said, he would be in there and he would, blowing the shofar and all that stuff for Yom Kippur and everything, and yeah, it's just enjoyable. But yeah, every single prison that I've ever been at, whether it be in the feds, the state, the county, Of course, they're going to have a Passover service, and people that are participants of that faith will participate in that, and they'll always get these crackers because they're a big part of the holiday itself. So for anybody interested in it, yeah, Passover is celebrated in prison. Unfortunately, the prison that I was at, though, there wasn't any real Jews there that were wanting to do anything outside of getting those crackers. It's a sad thing that the taxpayers have to pay for a lot of this nonsense. And we did everything in our power to see to it that, that it would become more realistic. That way the budget can more focus on more stuff that we needed for these services, like purchasing whole volumes of Midrash and Zohars and everything else and all the rest of the stuff that comes with the service itself. There would be times where we had to use candles that were reserved for Santeria or one of these other services like Catholicism or something. Candles that are not considered to be kosher candles designed in Israel. And then there would be times where a lot of these kosher candles designed in Israel would go out to some of these other services. So it was always a huge mess. But like I said, the holidays that you celebrate in there may not be to the degree that you're used to seeing out here. Of course, if you are Jewish and you're celebrating Passover right now, just know that there's a lot of invisible holiday Jews, as I like to call them, holiday Jews, that are in there using your tax dollars to get a bunch of boxes of crackers so they could sell them on the yard for flatbread pizzas. You already know what it is. And you heard it right here. Prison Break Raw, uncut, uncensored, no holds barred, non-sugarcoating, not politically correct, all up in your face, slapping you with that dick of reality. And I'm out.